welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you're new here, my name is Sharon and I create content around my passion for the science of tea and wellness. And in today's video, I'm touching on one aspect of wellness that I think is important, and that is wealth. And through my reading that I will continue to do, these are the 7 pillars that I believe will combined contribute to my financial independence. So I hope that in thinking about these few things that I've gathered so far, it might be beneficial to you as well. Obviously, financial freedom and independence, there are some aspects of it that are beyond our control, and the journey towards financial freedom is not an easy one. But these are just a few things that I think could help. And each pillar probably needs a whole series dedicated to it, if not just one video. So I'll just be mentioning each briefly. There'll be timestamps in the description box and any useful links that I mention. So let's get right into it. So the first pillar has to be a source of income or a revenue stream. And depending on where you're at in life, this could be your parent or your guardian, it could be your place of employment, so your job, it could be your own business or your own side hustles, and it could also be some forms of passive income, say through assets like rental, so through real estate or through investing in different areas that actually bring you money in your sleep. So income is a big factor to financial independence because you can either find more streams of income or try and increase your income from one revenue stream. So like if it's in a job, you figure out how to get a pay rise, or if it's your business, how to expand that one business. So yeah, income is definitely up there when it comes to financial independence, and I'll definitely be talking about it more and more in future videos. And actually something that's important to think about with these 7 pillars is I look at wealth in 2 ways: wealth creation and wealth preservation or protection. So these 7 pillars either fall in one or both of those categories. So creation of wealth or preservation. So when it comes to income, that's definitely wealth generation or wealth creation. So my second pillar has to be a budget or a spending plan. And this is something that's usually the first step to financial independence, is just tracking how you're spending money, how the money is coming in and what you're spending it on. And I personally believe in a spending plan that is more long-term, so not a monthly budget but a yearly budget over a monthly one, or a 5-year spending plan. And obviously when you look at it from a year's point of view, you might say that you can't really know what income will be coming in or what expenses will be spent, but you can definitely create a projected spending plan for your year and generate sinking funds for those categories. And in that entire budget, you factor in savings, because savings is a part of your budget, and sinking funds, as I've mentioned. I have an entire blog post dedicated to sinking funds and what they are and why I still think that all those things fall under the budget. Once you have a budget, you can clearly see that every month this is going into that and this is going into this, and you can overshoot or undershoot just to cushion yourself. You can also include your emergency fund in there. You can include everything in your budget. So this is among the very first things that you should look at. Hopefully I can cover just budgeting in an entire separate video, but I did mention that I like to track my expenses using an app called Money5, and I find that it's very good. It has the Kenyan currency on it, which makes things easier. And when you buy the full plan, which is 200 bob, and it's a one-time fee, you can customize the categories to have as many of them as you'd want. So I really like using that to track all of my expenses. Number 3 has to be an emergency fund. If you watched my other video on the 3 steps I'm taking towards financial freedom, I really emphasized on an emergency fund because I think that this is among the first contributions to yourself. This is paying yourself and making sure that come rain, come shine, come a pandemic, I have 3 to 6 months, even up to a year of my living expenses. And I believe that I will continue to contribute to my emergency fund, even if it ends up being 2-3 years of living expenses. It's always good to know that if you wake up and you even maybe need to take some time off to decide what you want to do with your life, with your career, with your education, you can take 9 months out and you have 9 months worth of your living expenses there that can cushion you through that. And I know this is definitely not easy. To build up an emergency fund takes some time, and I just look at it as a steady, slow contribution that you always know that that cushion exists, and hopefully the emergency never comes. So you can think through what that emergency fund looks like. But maybe I would do a separate video on this, but generally what many people advise is just start by aim to save $1,000. So we can say, I mean, at $1 is no longer 100 bob, but you can say aim to have an emergency fund of 100,000. Once you hit that target, then you can now gradually add 3 to 6 months of your living expenses. But you'll find that even once you've saved that 100,000, it could be even 6 months of your emergency fund already covered, and you no longer need to keep working towards that. So yeah, that's the general rule of thumb. The fourth pillar would be a debt payoff plan. Now, when it comes to debt, this doesn't apply to everyone. Some people have no debt at all, and some people debt is like one of the biggest things they have to tackle when it comes to their finances. So if you don't have any debt, then this pillar is just learning what the difference is between good and bad debt, and that obviously needs a video on its own. But ideally, the rule of thumb behind good debt is a debt that will build you up towards an asset. If you're taking out a loan or Fuliza and all that to buy something, for on the material side of things, it might not be the best debt to accrue. But if you are taking out a mortgage, that could be considered a good debt, depending on who you ask. So a debt payoff plan is a very important strategy in your journey to financial freedom, because debt can, for many people, hold them back from their financial goals. My take though is that debt is not the only thing you should focus on. It is one pillar, but it can be something that you work on alongside these other pillars, so that combined you're in a good financial place. Yeah, so debt payoff plan is definitely another pillar. The fifth pillar has to be investment. Now, this is where wealth creation really happens, whether this is government securities like treasury bills and bonds, or it is stocks and shares, or SACCOs, investment groups or chamas, businesses, all of these, real estate. There are so many forms of investments, and yeah, this is a whole huge topic on its own. And the idea around your investments is to think about what your ideal life looks like and how you can divide your portfolio so that it is diverse, it is safe, and it gets you towards your financial goals. And if this is a difficult area to get a grip on, sometimes seeking out financial advice is the best way to go. So hopefully we'll talk more and more about investments, because this is where wealth generation really truly happens. The sixth pillar of financial independence is insurance. Now, this is something I find is not always emphasized when it comes to financial independence, and unfortunately people even fear insurance because there are so many scandals around insurance companies, and so people don't think that insurance can be an important aspect of finances, but it is crucial. And remember, I talked about this wealth creation and this wealth preservation or protection, and insurance aims to protect that wealth that you've created. So there's so many types of insurance. There's life insurance, health, house insurance, car insurance. You can insure your electronics. I probably will list down the many types of insurance that I know of, but this is another topic on its own. So looking into great insurance policies that will make sure that when that time comes, when the health emergency happens, or when you, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but when your car gets into an accident, you don't want that all this money that you've been saving it goes in one instant because you didn't have insurance for all of your assets. So insurance is definitely a crucial aspect to financial independence. The last and possibly the most important aspect of financial or pillar of financial independence is retirement, a retirement strategy. Now, many people do not think about their retirement. You think you're too young to even be worrying about 60, 65-year-old you when you're barely figuring out, you're struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. And the thing, or the worry about not thinking about retirement is, even if your income increases, it's very possible for nothing to change. You still live paycheck to paycheck, but the paycheck has just gotten bigger. So I think people considering retirement and even defining what retirement looks like to you, because retirement, I think, has this, people just imagine that you're old and frail in a nursing home and you won't really need money at that time. But to me, retirement can happen at any age. I would define retirement as the point at which work becomes optional. So I would replace retirement with work optional, and I think that definition makes things like, I want to retire now. I want work to be optional today. So how can I create a strategy, a retirement strategy that means that when I hit 30 or when I hit 40, working after that would be optional. So I think that this is another topic that I'd want to talk more and more about, because that future-oriented look at your life, at your finances, can also help you to be more strategic in the present about even how you invest, how your portfolio looks like, so that you know that you can stop working today and you're well and good, you're set for life. So those are, to me, the 7 pillars of financial independence. Let me know if there's any that I left out, any I should add. If you have any comments, any questions, anything else you'd like to see around the topic of finances, I hope to talk more and more about it, and we can be more open and not treat finances as such a taboo topic. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Always remember that your hair is your crown and your body is a temple. Embrace it, love it, and take care of it. Bye.